notice only 3 are open right now.
These are all areas that we've been to.
Of course. I guess that means we have to frickin' find the... Oh! Wait, do we have to find our way to the new areas? I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, that figures.
Okay, game.
If you could friggin' just grapple across each one of those, there we go. Yeah, don't forget you have a mid-air jump as well from each of those. Remember that mid-air jump. But yeah, I mean, I still haven't really had to pay for friggin' like monthly fees for friggin' Game Pass yet, because I kept stacking on the annual subscriptions. They used to have that. They don't have that anymore. Because people are able to keep utilizing it and saving money. There is still the method a lot of people like to use. Basically getting a bunch of, what is it? Right now it's get a bunch of 3-month passes to Game Pass Core. Because Game Pass Core is basically like half the price. And then basically pay the upgrade fee once you put all your Game Pass Core in there to upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate. It costs like $1 for every month you have. So you're basically paying half price and then an extra $1 for every month. So you're basically paying like $11 or $12 a month for Game Pass Ultimate if you do it that way. But again, that's if you really want to keep it going for that long.
Yeah, I've just kind of gotten to a point where it's just like... I guess Nintendo's the only exception to the rule because...
They have a big retro library, and it's relatively cheap compared to the other two.
Yeah.
It's freaking $50 a year for the higher end. That feels like nothing, honestly.
And there's also, like, the group subscription thing you can do as well.
Oh, the only bad news that came out of the Game Pass price increase, well, the worst news. They've been toying around with other tiers. One of them involves ads. I feel like it'll be more on the Xbox dashboard, but you know, that's something I've hated a lot of the subscription services I've been with, like the.
That's why I've kind of been like very on edge. There's a lot of like stuff like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and all that.
Yep, they've
really.
That's what I'll say. I think Netflix is the first one that started the ad. Oh no, Hulu was the one that started the ad-based one.
Yeah.
It used to be free when they had the premium thing. Now they have a basic one that has ads with it. Then Netflix and everybody else has joined in on it to give a cheaper option.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. It's basically now they basically are now charging a premium for a lack of ads. Which, you know, sucks. It's basically a great way to encourage you to frickin', you know, get away from ads by paying more into it. Very annoying, scummy move. That's business for you.
Or you can just be like me and just pirate everything because the way subscriptions work. So they tell me to feel bad.
They haven't been able to stop it, I mean.
It's the absolution of the internet.
Yep, that it is. I mean, you can find anything now. I've freaking been watching anime for free on there for freaking years.
Yeah. So I watched a lot of the Big Three for a while. That and also the fact that actually that's a different matter. It has something to do more with the freaking companies that actually, you know, acting like they're the absolute when it comes to, you know, localization, when in reality some of their localization can be spotty, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, yeah. You know, certain companies handle it oddly. I know the big complaint with, like, anime dubbing, for example, is that they only have, like, a small select group of voice actors. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I thought it would only come out when you were freaking in the... Oh! With the water for some reason.
First paycheck always feels good, but at this point I mostly see work.
You always feel that way until you actually get paid. Why wouldn't it? I mean, I'm still willing to pay for Game Pass for the moment. If they raise the price again, though, that's... I'm just see how much it's worth. It depends on how many games on there I play through Game Pass. I mean... Basically, 4 or 5 of the games I'm playing right now are through Game Pass Ultimate, so
Gotta get it.
you know. Don't forget, the other good thing about Game Pass, though, is that you also get, like, exclusive, like, discounts and sales that other people don't. There's no safe area here. That was painful.
Right, because it looked painful or because of my stupidity? Yes.
I thought that was what Portal said, and that was a painful one.
Yeah.
It certainly was. I mean, I'm still getting my value. Don't forget, basically, if you're going by the monthly thing, just doing the highest money you would have to pay, nice, for monthly value, it'd be basically $240 a year, which is basically the equivalent of, well, 4 games. I'll just say 4.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on how much you use it. If you play, like, a lot of those games, you definitely get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you get extra discounts from being on Game Pass as well, and even the games on the service, you get discounts if you buy them while they're on Game Pass as well. And any Microsoft-related game will always be on there. So all the things from like Rare Replay, all the Halo games, the Gears games, now a lot of things by Activision, a lot of that will just be on there now. Most likely for good. So it makes it a lot harder to, you know, deny the value at the very least. But again, if you'd rather own the games, then there's no need for you to go into it.
Yeah, that's where I've kind of drawn the line at this point.
Like, if you want a game, you'll buy it. Yeah, I get that.
Because I already got a big enough backlog on Steam anyway, so it's not like I'm on any real rush to actively buy a game.
Yeah. I think one of the things to Game Pass was able to get pretty good discounts on all the Devil May Cry games. Like, I bought all of them 1 through 5. I think getting all of them combined probably cost me like $35. Maybe closer to 40. I think it was like $10 for the HD collection for 1 through 3. I think it was $15 for me to get both 4 and 5 each. I didn't get DMC though.
But you got DMC 2 though.
Yeah, I meant I didn't get the reboot DMC.
Yeah, I know, but you got DMC 2.
Yes. I got all the mainline ones, not the weird reboot one.
And again, I don't know how the reboot one even has, if it's even like the good version of it. Here's some targets.
Right, I don't know either, actually.
+1.
Was DMC supposed to be a reboot, or is that just like a spin-off or something?
That was supposed to be a reboot.
Okay, yeah, okay, that is the one I
And it
forgot.
basically bastardized.
I mean, yeah, I know. They freaking basically ripped apart everybody that loved the old school ones. It just felt like a dick move. Oh, new area. Okay, so this is how you get the portals to the other areas. Or is this another area we've been to before? Okay, you can see the power seals. Alright. Alright, you can still travel like normally to all the areas. Yep.
Right.
Prophecy. Oh, I guess something else might open up after we get all the music notes. Of course. Damn mushrooms. Then again, part of the fault for what Microsoft did with their subscription thing, though, lies with Sony. Because they had all their frickin' tiers for their Game Pass equivalent, quote unquote. And Sony's is still more expensive for the highest tier. And that's basically the version that allows you to basically get free, allows you to basically play some of the old school PlayStation games for free, the highest tier. The only way you get to their classic titles basically for free, unless you now want to just download them yourself.
I'm just resorting to emulation at this point because...
Yeah, they're so old it just feels like it should be, yeah. I try to avoid that if I can, but you know.
I've kind of just gotten to a point where it's
I
just
mean,
a game system's just fucking old. We
If
shouldn't
it's
have to
old enough-
spend this much for
If it's
a
old
fucking
enough, fuck it. Yeah, I get that. It's also a little harder to emulate some of the
Yeah.
stuff that's GameCube,
I know
PS2,
somebody wants to sit
Xbox.
here and tell me to feel bad. It's like, tell me like I'm doing the wrong thing. It's like, no. The thing is, it's like nobody wanted to embrace the emulation part of the game, and that's why we got in this situation.
Yeah.
And the thing about emulation is, it has its own double-edged sword, yes, but at the very least, it's free, so I don't have to sit here and spend like over like God knows how many dollars on a stupid subscription service just to get one fucking game.
Yeah.
And the console on top of it.
Yeah.
There's also another big thing. It's like I gotta spend my money on also on the fucking console.
That's part of why I have my analog pocket thing. I basically have it as a freaking like emulator machine. I know that's why some people get the Xbox Series S. You basically can put it in developer mode and like throw a bunch of emulators in it. It's like a really good emulator machine. And then you get the Series S for like $250. Not that bad if you're that dedicated to like having a machine solely for that.
Yeah. So it's like, that's great, you can use the machine console to emulate, but at this point it's like, I guess if you're not the kind of person who's like...
It's a little... I've had trouble with some of it on PC myself. So I know sometimes you can be weird optimizing some of the things, like... N64 emulators I've always had trouble with, because...
The problem with emulating on PC is that everybody talks about how great the PC stuff is, but there's no really good tutorials telling you how the hell to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's like some people who just have this high and mighty thing. It's like, oh, well, this is the best experience. I'm like, you want to tell me how to optimize it? No?
Yes.
Don't give me a fucking attitude.
Yeah, you
about
gotta
it,
do a
asshole.
lot of research for figuring out how to optimize for it.
Like that's the big thing about
You won't believe how long it took for me to get the old school Mac emulator. I frickin' spent hours trying to get on my PC just so I could play frickin' Mario's Game Gallery.
That was me for Ninja Gaiden Black. When I was trying to get that set up, there was 4 different files that apparently I needed. Like, somebody sent me, like, all the files, apparently, oh, you should be good after this, like, with the Ninja Gaiden Black thing. And it turned out I had someone look at it with me, and it's like, oh, you've missed 4 files. Like, well, thanks!
Yeah.
For not now, like, that's the kind of shit that's, like...
There's a lot of files for that. It can be freaking...
It's like, that's the shit where it's like, hey, sorry, I don't know how to fucking do this. You're not gonna... It's like, I don't know this shit like some of you people do, so you have to sit here and think about it from that angle.
Yeah.
The second person that talking about was at least, like, able to realize, why I wasn't able to get it to work, but...
Yeah, it can definitely be a struggle for some of it.
I get heated when that, because it's like,
Yeah.
everyone talks about how great the PC thing is. It's like, oh, you ever tried doing it yourself? Because guess what? There's no good tutorials or anything like that for that shit.
Yeah, really just have to basically try to look around the internet, try to see people that were struggling with it, try to figure out what they were missing that other tutorials don't tell you. Great when people have those tutorials, and they don't include every step. Like, you know, missing some of those key steps is kind of not helpful.
Yeah, and also it's just like, what parts of this is supposed to enhance my experience, whatever. Because it's like, when I play my PC, it's just like, I'm usually playing single-player games and just do amount of things. It's like, and I don't really give a shit about
all my multiplayer stuff or whatever.
or like optimizing for like the perfect experience because it's just too much of a fucking headache.
Yeah, sometimes.
I just want, it's like, I'm sorry for something else, it's like, thanks for trying to help, it's like, sometimes all I want to do is just play my fucking game.
Yeah, and that's
and not every single game on
That
top
is
of that is also optimized for PC.
That is
very well.
unfortunately the difficulty with emulators. Like, yeah, a lot of them can be very spotty. Again, that's why some people use the Series S as an emulator, because it can... A lot of the emulators that people have designed specifically for that run particularly well. Like, I think it said once you get to, like, PS2, GameCube, and regular... They said, like, the PS2 one for that might be a little spotty, but all the others, like, before that are pretty solid.
I've heard a lot of good things about, Dolphin.
Yeah, Dolphin runs well on it, of course it does. Dolphin emulator I did have good experience with. It took me a while to figure out how to get run ISOs, like, in general, through those, because I was like... Those are the things I was missing files to get ISOs to just run in general. I could not figure out for the life of me how it worked. Because ROMs, you just put them in, bam, they're ready to go. But ISOs? Oh, man. There's like a whole other thing about how to get bootloaders and stuff to actually get that to work. It's like, man. So, this is the episode where we're freaking promoting emulation now.
Look, the way I see it is this, is that if you're in an older generation, like, I'm usually just gonna go out of my way to just get the go and emulate
You're
because
at
of two
least two
things.
generations.
One, there's a couple, like I said, there was a video I was watching and I was talking about this, and there's a couple of different factors that, honestly, take into consideration. Yeah, one is, A, you have to get the original hardware, which you don't even know if it's still going to be active and working as years go on, because, and also just repair it if it's broken. B,
There's also just more availability of those games in general, especially lacking on modern consoles.
Yep. B is, you know, you gotta buy the game, and a lot of times, whenever you buy a game, guess what? It's like, Lord knows how much money because there's just one person that just wants this, because collectors want to shell it out for that much, or scalpers.
Well, at least the modern consoles now are finally getting better with that. Like, they are getting pretty decent with that now. So, you know, I think Sony's finally getting to the point they might start actually allowing PS3 games to be bought on the PS5. Although I've heard apparently early efforts on the games running natively are not going too well. Then again, given the PS3, not surprised. Alright, another big thing in news. I think like literally the day we recorded this, the Xbox 360 marketplace is finally shutting down.
Some people complain and say, oh, it should have stayed on forever. Well,
it's been almost 20 years, like, man. Who's using just a 360 these days, except for, like, particular Xbox games?
the only argument
I say that as we recently did Genmo Musa. So, there's only, like, 50 games that are, like, going to be lost forever because of that.
Still, though, the fact that the games are getting lost at all.
Because they can only be downloaded. The only name that, like, seemed notable to me was, like, Aegis Wing or something. That was, like, the only, like, name of note I recognized. That's one of the... Like, yep, some 360 games, like, 50 of them are going to be lost forever, supposedly. Unless they somehow get it to the Xbox One or Series X ecosystem. Which, you know, they make it sound like they've, you know, they basically said they're probably not going to make any more games backwards compatible, but they're not completely They made it sound like they're not dismissing it entirely. Just they're probably not putting in active effort to get them on there. It is kind of a tall ask to be able to get every single game working on there, though, to be fair. It is quite an undertaking. In a way, it's like having to deal with freaking emulator compatibility. In a way, it's like that.
Yeah. And the problem is that the gaming sphere has rejected has created an ecosystem that rejects emulation at its core.
Yeah.
And because of that, now we're in this kind of situation.
I mean, Nintendo's at least trying to do emulators in-house somewhat.
Yeah,
they're getting there.
They've also, but then again, Nintendo's a different case.
Sony's now incorporating, well, I think the problem they have with running their PS3 games is their PS3 emulator to run them themselves. And Xbox is integrated pretty frickin' well, since their consoles have had a similar structure, so... They've been in the lucky circumstance of having relatively similar hardware for their entire, like, lifetime of doing consoles, that it's not too big a deal on their front. That's why they've had the easiest time with backwards compatibility. It's just, you know, the ideal situation would be, of course, you know, like, they could have, like, you know what would really help? If they, like, made their own emulators you could buy on the, you know, consoles. And then just basically have, like, a marketplace of just all the ROMs. It's a tall ask, but that would solve the problem. That would solve the problem.
It would. It's just, you know, trying to get people, like, certain people on board with that since we've created it's specifically in whatchamacallit, in games especially is kind of the one where it's just like, emulation has so many different benefits that could be offered, but
yeah,
we've created a system where it's like, oh, emulation equals piracy when it's just two different things altogether.
It's the ROMs themselves. If they create official emulators and, you know, gave access to a lot of ROMs, and didn't make them stupidly expensive, of course, then all would be good. And if you supply your own emulator and provide your own library for the ROMs, who would make all the money? The fucking console makers! It'd be freaking money for them! Even if it's not a bunch, it could be something that adds extra revenue.
That also requires companies to actually think about something long-term, which they never do.
I mean, a lot of mainstream gaming doesn't really think long-term at all. Oh, another entrance to there. Interesting.
I don't want to go back.
I guess we can go that way to that area later.
Like I said, you know what? We're already here, so we may as well just keep going.
Okay. At least we can mark where all the power seals are. I imagine you probably get to all of them before you go through that demon seal door thing.
Yeah, you get something cool if you get it all, but you don't have to. The power seals are optional.
Right. Well, it'd be nice to show off, and since we have a map thing that allows us to find them all, would be convenient.
Yeah. I just really want the 3,000
Right.
for everything else.
For the extra defense and offense, yep.
Yep.
I wonder if there's an easy way to be able to grind these.
There probably is.
Yeah.
But
I imagine the spirits kind of regenerate when you leave and re-enter a main world.